Hey everybody, Al Puglisi with my dog Winston today. I'm down in Easton, Maryland. It's a really cool place. So I thought I'd shoot a episode of It Begs to Be Modeled. And one of the places you can check when you go to a local town, many of them have a historical society or a welcoming center. And Winston found this welcoming center and got free milk bones. And they can tell you where to go to see some of the historic buildings. There are an incredible amount of historic buildings down here that one can study for color, for palettes, for modeling, to be inspired to scratch build, or to just plain study. Let me show you some of them. Well, this is the old firehouse in Easton. Actually, this is not the first firehouse in Easton, but this was a firehouse that my wife's granddad was a fire chief at, and she wants me to model. And of course you could come down here and take measurements, but you could probably get a set of plans either from the Historic Society or maybe from the fire company itself. Now, it doesn't quite look like a firehouse right now. It's been modified a bit, but I'll show you some early pictures of this and you can see what it looked like a long time ago as a firehouse. Well, this is the firehouse in Easton, Maryland. The way it looked back when my wife's grandfather was fire chief for a certain amount of time. And you can see that it has bays for fire trucks. And the building now is a little bit different than what we see here. The building is the same, but the entrances for the fire trucks were a little bit different and modified into an office space. But nevertheless, this is what the structure looked like. And this is the way that my wife would like me to build the building for her in a tribute to her grandfather. Man, just driving around this historic town, here's another one. This property is actually for sale. I have no idea what they're asking for this, but you have sky blue colors in this. And again, with Howard making these Victorians, series of Victorians, I want to do something in O scale that Howard can design, but I'm getting a lot of color ideas and a lot of decorating ideas looking at these buildings, and that's what it's all about. Now, next door, this is a funeral, being used as a funeral parlor, and a friend of mine, actually my wife's aunt's husband, had his services here, and this is just an incredible building as well. Let's take a close look at it. Now, as I walk across the street, I'm standing in the middle of an intersection here to get a shot of the side of this incredible structure. The colors, the porch, the way this is laid out is absolutely breathtaking to me. Well, that's the property if you're interested in it. And this is a funeral home. This is the Fellows, Hellefonbein and Newnham Funeral Home. And again, unfortunately, a lot of us may need funeral homes on our layouts. In a town, there tends to always be a funeral home, and some of them can be pretty magnificent structures, and this is one of them. I never thought I'd want to model a funeral home, but folks, let me tell you something. This gives me a lot of ideas. The hunter green shutters and cupola and chimney caps on this against the white is a stunning color combination. Well, this is the Maryland National Guard building in the middle of downtown Easton. And I never ever noticed this, and I've been coming down here to Easton ever since the early 80s. And I've never noticed this incredible building. There's just stuff everywhere to look at and potentially model. Right across the street from it is an interesting church with an adjacent house to the property. And Howard Zane has cupolas on a lot of his structures. And this is the Academy Art Museum in downtown Easton. And I was driving by and noticed this really, really cool cupola assembly on the top. So yes, these things do exist, folks. Another absolutely beautiful private property here, the columns. Now, some modelers have used wedding cake columns that you can buy for wedding cakes to model for O scale or HO scale large columns. So you could look into that for modeling something like this for using for the columns. There are statues that are quite large. This statue here is about 9 feet tall, all over the town. They can be incredible to model for a 3D artist, 3D printer artist. This is the Bartlett Pear Inn, and this is an incredible aged brick, the study for weathering brick and for aging brick. And just to sit and study the way this looks when you model aids me tremendously in the coloring and the aging of different materials. This is just an incredibly cool building, and the dormers are shingled on this. I just think that's really cool. What an incredible prototype one could model. And this is the famous Tidewater Inn down in Easton. You know, a lot of us don't model little pop-up stands like this that are all over the place. They could be snowball stands, they could be, good God, they could sell anything stands. They're everywhere down here. Well, folks, thanks for watching It Begs to Be Modeled. And you come down to a town like Easton, Maryland, or hundreds of small towns in the United States to get inspired, to study structures and colors. There's so many different kinds of houses down here. It's literally amazing. And you could literally, I could spend and do a 3 or 4 hour video on this town. It's on its way to Ocean City, Maryland. So I highly recommend a visit, and just to study the architecture and see all the incredibly different buildings, colors, and designs that are in one place, literally on the same block in many instances. Thanks so much for watching.